Hold on. We are live. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Zakia Ringgold, and I am here with the amazing Debbie. Can you please pronounce your last name for me so I don't stutter it?
It's Sturdevant.
Sturdevant. And guys, this is a really, really special treat. Remember that hour and a half unboxing that I did? Well, it came from the conference that was put together by this amazing lady and a group of amazing volunteers. She will not let me get away with saying it was all her. But it came from the Old Sage Apothecarian Conference, which was held in New York, well, not New York City, but in the state of New York, right near Syracuse, New York. So, Deb, I'm going to give you a moment to just tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am a country girl. I'm fourth generation here on the hill, just south of Canastota, and I have my little shop right near my home. And I'm an herbalist, an artist, thus the country artist name. I kept the name from after college. I had that business, and I felt that soap making was also an art, so I kept it. And I love to wildcraft and make my formulations, and I've got all my barn critters. I have chickens and cats and Bob, my husband, and two grown boys, and I just adore the group that we have. We're an old group, and I just, that in my time off, which isn't a lot, I try to spend with the group and growing it and helping people to learn the things that I've learned over an entire lifetime.
Yeah, and you mentioned your group, which I think was absolutely positively phenomenal. Janet is saying that she has no sound. Janet, can you not hear us? Let's see what's going on. What's going on? And that's the one nice thing about being live is they also help us to troubleshoot so that we don't get too overwhelmed with it. But Janet, we do have like a 2-second delay from when I put your comments on the screen to when you actually see them. So are you still not able to hear clearly, or are we good to go? And I'm going to hide that. And that's kind of the good thing that we went live a little bit early because we can test it 1, 2, 3. And I'm also going to the page to see if we're okay. Okay. I've got sound.
It's showing I've got sound as well.
Yeah. We got nothing?
Maybe if I've muted my phone because I had a customer call last time we talked and tried it. So let's try it. Unmute the phone. Maybe that will make a difference. It shouldn't make a difference. Because we don't have Wi-Fi here on the hill, I have to tether my iPhone to my computer.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still saying no sound. Aww. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to pause and come back so that way you don't have to watch us trying to fumble and figure it out because then it's looking like deers in headlights. Erica is saying that she can hear us. So Janet, if you are on the live stream and you can't hear, sometimes when you go on to a video, there's like a mute button in the bottom because maybe your default sound is turned off so that it doesn't automatically play. That is something that Facebook does, trying to protect you from having all of your live streams going off while you're at work. So is there a little mute button that you see? Hey, Erica, good to see you. Thank you for joining us live. I appreciate it. Let me see. Let me pull you up there. And so Erica is saying that she can hear. So let's see. Do I need to cancel or no? We got quite a few of you in here, so let's see. And we're getting the thumbs up and the hearts, but you guys aren't answering. I don't know what the answer is. Hold on 1 second.
They love the silence. They know how I like to talk.
Yeah, I'm not Hello, I have sound. So Dina is saying that she has sound as well. But when I go on there, I got, let's see. Because I'm kind of in the bucket with Janet and I have no sound. When I'm on the Facebook page.
She's a computer guru too, so.
I don't feel like one right now.
Like you.
Oh, Dina is. Well, hi, Dina. Good to see you. I have sound. So Miriam can hear us, Erica can hear us, and Dina can hear us. We're going to go with the rule of 3 and assume that everything is okay. And I guess after that, we will figure it out later on because we can always download it. So as you heard, Deb was mentioning the community aspect of it. And I have to tell you, it was my very first time attending the Old Sage Apothecarian Conference. And the one thing that stood out to me was that one of many, I shouldn't say the one thing, was that real sense of community that enveloped you as soon as you walked in the door and the entire time. So it was an entire day of wild crafters, artisans, soap makers, herbalists, you name it. People who make their own handcrafted products were there and sharing and caring and just chit-chatting. There was just so much that went on with it. And so I guess before we get into the conference, can you tell us how you actually got into wild crafting? Do you consider yourself an herbalist or an aromatherapist? Anything along those lines to give people an understanding.
Actually, a little bit of all the things you just mentioned. I grew into it. I'm 4th generation here on the country hill where my shop and my home is. And I was taught a lot of what I do now from my folks. They were gardeners and wild crafters, and Mom was really my biggest inspiration, both into nature. And then as I went on my own way, I did more and more research. I did a lot of studying in aromatherapy, herbalism, the history, started doing shows at first, and then opened my little shop. And I can't get enough. I love to study, but my lifetime has been really a journey of herbalism, and the soap making just came naturally. After I got off on my own, I decided to make a batch, and I actually used my own beef tallow and rendered it and made that, and then went to vegan because I had so many folks say they wanted to have non-animal. I'm not against that, but I did start using the what we call the Trinity at the time back in the early 90s, which would have been olive oil, palm, which most of us have gotten away from, and any other liquid oil to go with that. But really, I started out as an artist, Zakia. I went to college for art, and that's what I did. And I kept the name because I feel that soap making, and you mentioned all the things that our group does, which is really apothecarians. The whole word, or the word art, really encompasses what we do. It's an art. Everything we do is an art. It's a creativity thing. So I kept the country artist for myself, for my business, and we decided on Old Sage Apothecarians because we are apothecarians. And once you do it a while, you're an Old Sage Apothecarian. So it just seemed like the word to go with for our group. And yeah, we do everything from one of our members made sauerkraut, which was a surprise. And hey, it's a formulation.
Yes, and it was so good. I think that was Renee.
I heard a lot of responses on that. We had jewelry makers, a lot of healers. Many of us are healers. We do, just everything with herbs and soap and you name it, body care. So we are a diverse group. We're very unique in that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that diversity, guys, if you didn't go, I'm just going to list off some of the things that were included in that product swap. We had lip gloss, we had soap, we had no soap clay bars, the sauerkraut that everybody is raving about. Someone even made handmade soap dishes. No poo spray, meaning don't be nervous about going to the restroom, but bug off spray. There were all kinds of things that were made from a very small group of people. And so, since we're talking about the conference, Deb, can you give us a little bit of information on how the conference actually got started, or how Old Sage came to be?
Well, we started out as Central New York soap makers, and we formed, actually 3 of us formed a group. The one person, it wasn't me because I was not a computer gal, started it back in '97 on Yahoo groups. That's taken us back. And we started it because we wanted a safe place to share recipes, split up bulk buys, because many of us were starting small. And we had a place where we could chit chat and discuss things. So that's how we started a long time ago. And I believe, and I would have to ask Shay, as one of the other members that had the group for many, many years, we started, I think, the 2nd year meeting at people's homes. We actually were much smaller, and we would meet at people's homes once a year and do what we saw the other day on a much smaller scale. With the same idea, education, demonstrations of wonderful members in our group that were willing to do so, donations from suppliers, games, just like a family reunion of sorts. So it started small, and we've just outgrown going to people's homes. The last one we had was at Lisa Lopez's home. She was kind enough to let us go to her home. And then we realized it had to take a step higher, so we got we actually secured a place down in town, which is right off the thruway. So, and it's exactly, Canastota is exactly in the middle of New York State up here, so it's perfect. So it seemed like a good place. And since I spent months and months doing my emailing of our suppliers that are fantastic, we have everything come here. I have it in my storeroom in the shop. And just keep taking things in, then we have to get everything all sorted into our bags. And it's close enough for me that I can take everything down. And we actually had to get 4 or 5 members to come and meet me here at the crack of dawn, coffee in hand, to get all those wonderful vendor bags down to the facility. So bless all of them for their help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't do without them.
Yeah, and speaking of the volunteers and the donations from the vendors, guys, you know me, I go to conferences, at least 5 conferences a year. And when you all saw on the live stream that we did an unboxing of just the vast amount of stuff that we got. We were introduced to new suppliers, new vendors, new ingredients, new colors, new fragrances. There was just such a wide variety. So how would you describe the importance of the generosity of those vendors, and how your group actually makes that connection for makers and suppliers?
That is the heart of the whole thing. I can't be grateful enough. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. It's not about the stuff you're getting value-wise. My heart is that I want to bring the right supplier to the right creator to all of our members, because not all suppliers are what they're looking for. So we try to network. The whole day is about networking between each other as members and soap makers and formulators. But the idea behind the supplies or the supplier's swag bags is that you get to smell it, touch it, feel it, see what they have to offer, see if it's something that's right for you. You have, they offer us coupons to instill and inspire us to try to put it in order. And then we feel that it's bringing together that manufacturer and that vendor, or rather that soap maker or formulator. And these are relationships that can last literally a lifetime. I know I have many manufacturers that I've been using since I started back in '82. Not many back then, but I still use them and love them. And that's the whole idea, is that we're networking to bring the right supplies to our members, and that and they get a chance to see everything. It's not just about getting the swag, so to speak. That it's nice, but that's not the basis of it. It's about business.
Absolutely. And that comes across in the samples and even in just the awareness that these suppliers are out there, because there were some really small ones and then there were some really large ones. So I think you hit the mark on that with what you're trying to do, where it's bringing the two together and that being the heart of it.
I keep watching all year round. We had a gal come in from Texas from a shea butter company, Isabella. I found her reading Willow and Sage magazine, and I said, "Oh, there's someone I haven't heard about." So I went ahead and I emailed her, and we got a conversation up, and so she's become one of our suppliers as well. Wow. And we have other members that bring people in too. We had another shea butter fellow that came in, the Braca shea. I believe it was you that brought him to our doorstep. So we really look to our members to tell us about new ones we haven't heard of that they like, as well as keeping our own eyes open for some new possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess one thing, a lot of my students, they fall into the trap of getting way too many supplies, way too many ingredients, trying to test 1,000,001 things. What piece of advice would you give someone that is new to any craft?
I wouldn't go overboard. I know a lot of folks will buy all the equipment before they even know it's something they like. Start really small, just your basics, try it. And absolutely do not, sell until you know what you've made is a good product. What you make now is not going to be as good as what you're making 5 or 10 years down the road. I always tell folks that. But just try a few things at a time. Try what hits your heart first. Try, if you like soap, try soap. Then maybe bath bombs. Use it yourself. Have your friends try it. Give it as gifts. See what the reaction is. If you want to do it as a craft, that's fine. And we have folks that just do it for themselves. It's just a hobby to them. And right on down the scale to folks that have brick and mortar, shops. So it's a matter of just starting small and taking your time, because you don't want to be stuck with things that you're not going to use. And I know it can be. I have friends that say, "Oh Lord, we've got so much stuff and I have to destash," which is why you see so many destash groups, I think, on Facebook, because they go overboard.
Yeah. And Sarah is saying, "Hello there, Deb." Remember Sarah she's waving at you, Sarah. Yes. And then Drea is saying that she is definitely guilty of this. She has so many supplies. And so what's interesting about you, Deb, and I think it comes through not only in the way you speak, but the words that you speak. You have said heart 3 times on this interview. And one thing that was very, very clear and very, very evident from interacting with you is that it comes from a place of love. And I think that's what really draws the crowd that you have at your gatherings. It's you as well as the other members, but it really comes across that way. And you can tell when you're using those kind of words to describe things. You've said heart 3 times. I don't even know if you realize it, but you've said it 3 times.
It is a labor of love. And I have had my day with big wholesale and 2 to 3 craft shows a month for a year on end. And I'm back to where I started, Zakia. I've got my little shop one-on-one, and I'm actually happier now than I have been in a long time. And as I get older, I'm thinking more and more, and I think that's why the group becomes so much more important to me. Now I'm heading towards the educational end of things. I think it's important to make sure. The days when I began, there were 2 of us in a 50-mile radius, and you know how many people are doing this now. They know it's good for them. It's natural. You can't deny it. I think that it's important to teach people safety, the right way of doing things, help them to establish themselves. But for me, it's not just that. It's seeing the joy that I feel coming from someone else because they've taken the time to learn and make it, and that's what satisfies me. And that's sincere.
Yeah, and Miriam is saying that she's sad that she lives so far away and is unable to get to the conferences. So what advice would you have for someone? Because you guys kind of started with like just who you were, like right there. So if someone is too far and they can't get to a local conference, and I think you started to talk about it in terms of like studying, what advice would you give someone that can't do it? They can't get to a conference.
If they could start their own little group, I mean, we started with 3 gals. That's the way we began. And we're almost up to 500 members, which that's not as big as some groups, but for us, it's a good number. And I'm sure we're going to grow. I'm pretty sure we are. I think that if you want to learn, there is so much out there. I mean, you write beautiful books. There are so many reference books, and get on soap groups online that you know have a good following and a good reputation, and ask on there, what do you recommend? We have an herb group, a sister herb group that we have, and we list books that we feel are reputable. And on our group, if someone asks, well, what soap calculator would you suggest? We're very open about that, and we always guide them, and we're instant answers. Someone's always on our group. I get on there sometimes, and within 1 second, I have somebody talking back to me. So someone's always on OSA talking and ready to help. So that's the thing. Get on a good group, read, try it. Have that. What was it? Bob showed me inside his fortune cookie the other night. It says, fear is only fear until you try it, and then it's gone. And that's it. You try something, and that fear is gone because you've given it a go. It can work. Yeah. And we all have those downfalls where we make things and they don't work out, but that's part of the learning process also.
Absolutely.
But start a group. I mean, it's easy, real easy. Facebook, it tells you right through. Just start with 2 or 3 people and start your own little group and have your own little conference. And actually, we're about to do another swap. We wanted to join in all the group, not just the people coming to the conference. So we're going to do a fall swap of products. One of our members, Gretchen, is kind enough to do this. She wants to run it, and I said, "Hey, good with me." So she's going to do that, and we try to. What we do with it. So we're talking about my suppliers. After a supplier donates, we will list them in our files, so people can find the supplier that goes with the donation, or anyone on the group can see, oh, this person is on here. This is how I get in touch with them. We have them on our website, and we also invite them, any supplier, into the group to join and talk and help out. And they're allowed to advertise on Mondays if they do participate. So we are very open with our suppliers that way.
That's great. That's great. So I'm not going to keep you forever, but because you just mentioned and I'm going to pull this up here. So you mentioned, where can people go to get more information about the conference? I have the Old Sage Apothecarians.com.
Mm-hmm. That's our website. Yeah.
That's the website. And you also have a Facebook group.
Yes, we do. It's Old Sage Apothecarians. And it's found on Facebook, and you just pop on join, and we make sure the people that are coming in are honest and true and want to be a member and learn. And it's a real quick process, and we join you and welcome you. Every time someone joins, we make sure that we name the person and link their name so that they know we've taken them in, and we thank them for joining and say, read our little group history and our rules, and which are very minimal, and just join in. Tell us about yourself. What do you want to learn? Because there's someone here surely that can help you on your journey.
Yes. And I know you say you downside, you went back, and you have a smaller shop now, but you do also have you do also have a website, and I have that posted there. So if people want to get your products, you do a lot of wild crafting, which we kind of jumped over that, which I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about it, but your website is listed there. Can you tell people about the products that you have available?
I have a small amount of my products on my website. I couldn't possibly put them all on. And there's so many herbal products that I only sell in my shop because I like to talk to my clients. And there are many ifs, ands, and buts with herbs, as mundane as they may be. Anything as simple as chamomile to just, using even mint tea, depending on what they're taking for medication, their medical conditions. I need to talk to them one-on-one. So all of my herbals, pretty much tinctures and salves, are here in the shop. But I do have quite a few that are very safe on my website. And that's where I have all the things that I have made the longest and I have the most of in stock. But I'm willing to talk to folks when they come in here, and even people that buy off the website. I tell them, if you want to know anything or have any questions, or if you want to learn, just email me, and I'm always glad to talk to folks and tell them why I use the herbs I do. I used to do lectures for Cornell, and I had an old PowerPoint that was just a basic herbal PowerPoint that I have actually adjusted for soap groups. Where I used to do conferences at soap groups and would do talks, rather lectures, and it was more adjusted to why we use the herbs in our soaps and how to use things in our products. So I have two separate ones that I use, but I'm always willing to educate and talk to folks and kind of help them on their way. And with customers, it's the same thing. I want them to know, why I'm using certain herbs in my products. And I actually hang them from spring to fall out here in the rafters. And I'll point to what they're using, and they find it really interesting. So yes, I try to include them in on the formulating.
Wow. So I have to be honest, after I attended the conference, I came home and I started infusing every herb I could get my hand on. I think it was either Jody or Judy. She actually was selling some fresh herbs. So I got some rosemary from her, some chamomile, the huge bag that we got from the herb place. I got some eucalyptus.
Oh yeah, Atlantic Spice and Mountain Rose herbs. Both places are fabulous. They're reliable. Yeah.
So I got 12 canning jars of infused oils sitting under my table. I did it in a crock pot. But if I don't know if you're taking topic requests for next year, but if herbalism could be one of those topics.
It's funny you mentioned that, because 2 years ago we had Tina and Marianne Schwartz and Tina Sams of the Essential Herbal up from down in PA. You met them at this year's. They have been on Yahoo longer than my group has, actually. That's where I met them many moons ago. And we didn't mean to do it, but that entire conference was herbal based.
Wow.
Other than Janet's talk on business. And it was all herbal. The whole thing didn't even plan it that way, but it was great. This year we just didn't, it just didn't go that way. The clays were more natural. That was kind of nice too. And Cindy with her lotion making, she mentioned, because she does hydrosols and does fabulous
candles
too. Oh yeah, you can use hydrosols in your lotions, and so we always integrate a little bit herbal into it. But we're definitely going to we try to swing back and forth. We'll good idea. I'm glad you brought that up. That's going on the roster for next year.
That's on the docket. And I have my girl Sarah backing me up saying, please do another one next year for the herbs.
So today I went out and I actually went outside and with good intentions of healing, because I've been trying to heal my back from taking pictures for my herb group. I fell and broke my spine and my hip, and I'm almost on the mend. I'm getting hopefully I will be able to start making soap in a week or two. But I went outside and I picked some herbs, and I'm trying to follow Marianne and Tina's book on making herbal beads, which is kind of cool, especially if they have specific meaning to you. Healing meaning or just the aromatherapy properties. So that I've been able to do today. That was my project, because I can't go a day without doing something, either art or herbal or formulating, or I would go crazy. So Yeah.
And a lot of people have that. I'm going to need you to not be made of glass, though. When you told me your injury list and how they've been happening, we need you all in one piece. So that
I need to get back to my mindfulness and my yoga, and that's where my friend Lisa comes in, and she's my moral compass, and she's right. I need to start paying attention. I just get so excited and scattered, and I just don't look where I'm going, and of course I'm getting old too, so
yeah,
it doesn't help.
You're getting wise. What do they say about wine? It
I'm
just
a
gets
wise
better
woman.
with time. Yes. So I'm not going to hold you much longer, but guys, if you have not picked up what I am trying to let you all know, this is one incredibly versatile lady. She used to lecture at Cornell. She hosted conferences, or she continues to host conferences. She's an educator, an herbalist, an aromatherapist, a soap maker, an artist, a formulator, all of those things wrapped up into one. But above all of that, she's a really, really nice person who really has a heart of gold and wants the best for this community. And the community that just continues to grow, continues to thrive. So if you are not already familiar with the Old Sage Apothecarian Group, I encourage you to check out the website and, more importantly, be an active member of the group. No matter what group you're in, it does you no justice if you're just sitting there and you have questions and you don't put it out. You have answers and you don't put it out. One thing about the Old Sage Apothecarians are they're going to let you know if they have a question, and by George, you're going to get an answer within 24 hours. So is there anything else, Deb, that you would like to add or that we missed? I know we didn't really do enough justice maybe to the volunteers that help to make this thing roll. So is there anything you can add about what they do?
Oh boy, especially this year. I couldn't have done it on my own without them. They made the thing happen. And each person, we formed a planning group when I started soliciting the suppliers to help us in January. And we put old members that have been there as long as I have to brand new members, all very, very talented, willing to help. And each person had a specific job, and they did it, and they did it well. So it was just like a fine-tuned machine. It came up. We had a couple little glitches, but life isn't perfect. Just like herbs, everything isn't always perfect. So, we got it together, and it came off, and I was really pleased. It was really a super conference, and without them, it wouldn't have happened. We are a team. There's no I in team.
No. And one person that we're forgetting that got all of my money at that raffle table is your amazing husband, Bob.
He's out watering my gardens for me. He's working hard.
See what I'm saying? So he was pretty awesome and just had a smile. And when I came in, I think it was even the night before, he said, "Oh, don't worry. It's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name."
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it felt. So,
well, you asked what is important in this business, and it's so important to have the support of your family and friends. And even if you don't go for it, they'll be sorry later on when they see how good you're doing. But he's my support system, and my whole family is, and they've been guinea pigs for many, many moons, and all the better for it, really.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys. I'm Zakia Ringgold of Live Soap School, and we also have Debbie of the Old Sage Apothecarian Conference, as well as the country artist. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions,
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast, but you don't go anywhere. Bye, guys. All right, let's end it.